She walked into a bank looking homeless. When they saw her $58 million balance, the manager dropped to her knees. Picture this. A Chase Bank in Beverly Hills. Tuesday morning. Marble floors gleaming, the smell of expensive perfume hanging in the air like a warning. You don't belong here unless your net worth has at least 7 zeros. And then she walks in. Bare feet slapping against cold marble. Clothes ripped and stained with God knows what. Hair matted into clumps that haven't seen a brush in months. Face smudged with dirt, hands trembling, clutching a worn backpack like it's the last thing keeping her tethered to reality. Within 3 seconds, every single head turns. A woman in a Chanel suit physically recoils, yanking her Hermes bag closer. 2 guys in Brooks Brothers exchange smirks. Someone actually laughs out loud. A teenager pulls out his phone, already composing the TikTok caption in his head. The security guard moves toward her immediately. Big guy, arms like telephone poles, face that says he's removed hundreds of undesirables from this exact lobby. "Ma'am," he says, and the word drips with condescension. "You can't be in here. There's a shelter on San Vicente, 2 miles west. I can point you." "I just need to check my balance," she says quietly. The waiting area erupts. Someone snorts. The Chanel woman whispers to her friend, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Oh my God, what balance? Shopping carts?" That's when Karen appears. Yes, her name is actually Karen. Branch manager for 12 years. Blonde highlights too blonde, pantsuit too tight, lips pressed into that permanent line of disapproval she probably practices in the mirror. "Sweetie," Karen says, clicking across the floor in her heels. Every syllable soaked in fake concern and real disgust. "Sweetie, this is Beverly Hills. You're confused. Security, remove her." Gently. The girl doesn't move. Just stands there, those striking green eyes locked on Karen's face. "My name is Madison Grace Carter," she says. "I have an account here." Karen actually rolls her eyes. Full dramatic performance. She walks to the nearest terminal with this exaggerated sigh, like she's doing the world's biggest favor. "Fine. Let's settle this quick. Madison Grace Carter?" "Yes, ma'am." Karen types slowly, deliberately. Already planning the dinner party story about the crazy homeless girl. This'll be hilarious. The screen loads. Karen's face changes. Confusion. Then disbelief. Then absolute shock. The pen drops from her fingers, clattering on the marble like a gunshot. "Oh, my God," she whispers. Madison steps closer. "Problem with my account?" Karen's voice comes out strangled. "Your balance is $58.7 million, Madison finishes. Her voice is steady now. Strong. "So do I still need to leave?" Complete. Absolute. Silence. The Chanel woman's jaw literally hits the floor. The guys in suits freeze mid-smirk. The teenager's hands are shaking so badly the video's unwatchable, but he keeps filming. "Yo, this is going viral," he whispers into his phone. Karen's legs actually buckle. She grabs the counter for support, mascara already starting to run. But here's what you need to understand. This isn't just some feel-good story about a rich person teaching everyone a lesson. What I'm about to tell you is so much darker. So much more twisted. And by the end, you're going to be furious at the system that let this happen. Because what put a girl with nearly $60 million barefoot on the streets of Los Angeles? That's the part that'll make 45 million people watch this video. That's the part that'll make you cry. And I promise you, the revenge she gets? It's going to be so satisfying. 6 months earlier, the day everything died. Madison Grace Carter at 18, bright-eyed UCLA-bound pre-med student, daughter of doctors Michael and Elizabeth Carter. World-famous cardiologists. The kind who wrote textbooks. Who saved hundreds of kids' lives. Who built a fortune of nearly $60 million and raised a daughter who volunteered at Children's Hospital every weekend instead of partying. May 14, 2025. Her parents fly to a medical conference in San Francisco. Small private plane. Her dad's piloting. He'd been doing it for years. Madison's home studying. Kisses them goodbye that morning. Her mom smells like Chanel No. 5. Her dad's wearing that silly tie with hearts that his patients love. Love you, sweetheart, her mom says. Back by dinner. Making your favorite carbonara. Dad's making it, you mean, Madison teases. Yours tastes like rubber. They all laugh. It's their last laugh together. Engine failure at 2:47 that afternoon. Over the mountains north of Los Angeles. Catastrophic. Instant. They didn't suffer, the report later says, like that makes it better. Madison gets the call at 3:15. This is Officer Gonzalez. I need you to sit down, honey. That's how you know it's bad. When they make you sit before they destroy your world. 4 days later, the funeral. Massive. The hospital shuts down for it. Hundreds of people. Former patients crying, families whose children are alive because of her parents. Madison doesn't cry during the service. Can't. If she starts, she'll never stop. After most people leave, 2 relatives appear. Relatives Madison has met exactly twice in her life. Vanessa, her father's stepsister from his dad's second marriage. Greg, Vanessa's husband. Slicked back hair, smile that doesn't reach his eyes. But at the funeral? They're crying the loudest. Playing devastated family. You poor baby, Vanessa sobs, pulling Madison into a hug that feels invasive. What will you do? You're all alone. Come stay with us. We have room. We'll help manage everything. Madison's gut screams no. But she's exhausted. The house feels like a tomb. Maybe they're right. Maybe she needs help. Just temporarily, she whispers. Vanessa's smile is too big. Too eager. Of course, darling. We'll take such good care of you. If Madison knew what that smile really meant, she would have run. Right then. As fast as she could. Because Vanessa and Greg? They've been planning this for 3 years. And Madison just walked right into their trap. The trap slams shut. 2 weeks after the funeral, kitchen table meeting. Greg's got his laptop out, manila folders everywhere, dressed like he's giving a board presentation. Madison, honey, Greg starts, voice rehearsed. Your parents left you a fortune of nearly $60 million. You're 18. Do you understand how many scammers will come for this? How many fake friends, bad investments, people who'll manipulate you? The money's in trusts, Madison says quietly. My parents set up protections. Protections lawyers can challenge, Vanessa cuts in, losing some sweetness from her voice. Managing this kind of wealth is a full-time job. You need financial advisors, tax attorneys, investment managers. You know how to do any of that? Madison doesn't answer. She was supposed to learn. Her dad was going to teach her. But her dad is dead. We had our attorneys draw up a trust management agreement, Greg says, sliding a thick document across. We'd oversee your assets until you turn 25. Make sure everything's invested properly, bills paid. You'd still have full access for school, living expenses, anything you need. We're just stewards. Protecting you. Madison stares at the document. 40 pages of legal text. Words like irrevocable and fiduciary duty swim together. I need time to think. Maybe talk to my own lawyer. The temperature in the room drops 20 degrees. Your own lawyer? Vanessa's voice goes sharp. They charge $400 an hour to tell you exactly what we're saying for free. We're family, Madison. We're trying to protect you. Your parents would want this, Greg adds, something dark underneath his reasonable tone. I just need time, Madison says, standing. Her chair scrapes tile like nails on a chalkboard. Take all the time you need, Vanessa says. But her eyes have gone cold. Dead. That night changes everything. Madison wakes at 2 a.m. to voices. Angry voices from downstairs, trying to be quiet, failing. She creeps to the stairs. Stays in shadows. Can't let her walk away with nearly $60 million. Vanessa, no longer sweet. Vicious. Furious. We've planned this for 3 years, Greg. Every family event, every birthday card, every phone call, all of it. Once she signs over trust management, we start moving money. Small amounts she won't notice. By the time she's 25, we're gone to the Caymans and she's broke. Madison grips the banister so hard her knuckles go white. Blood turns to ice in her veins. And if she refuses? Greg asks. She won't refuse, Vanessa says, terrifying certainty in her voice. Tomorrow we take her phone. Tell her she needs to disconnect for her mental health. Lock her in the guest house. Keep her isolated until she signs. If we have to, we'll have Dr. Patterson declare her mentally incompetent. Who'll believe a grieving teenager over concerned adult relatives? By the time anyone questions it, if they ever do, the money's long gone. Madison doesn't wait. Backs away, heart hammering so hard she thinks it'll break through her ribs. She has maybe 6 hours before they make their move. 6 hours and no idea what to do. But here's what Madison doesn't know yet. What Vanessa and Greg are about to do to her will be so much worse than she imagines. And the way she escapes? That's when the real nightmare begins. 179 days in hell. What happens next? Madison doesn't sign. She refuses. No matter what they threaten. So they lock her in the guest house. New deadbolt installed on the outside. Windows painted shut the week before. Food pushed through a slot like she's a prisoner. Day 5, they bring Dr. Patterson. Expensive suit, warm voice designed to make you trust him. He sits across from Madison, building his case. Your aunt and uncle say you've been having paranoid delusions, he says gently. Believing they want to hurt you. Refusing to eat. Isolating yourself. I'm not paranoid, Madison says. I heard them planning to steal my inheritance. They locked me in here. Dr. Patterson makes a note. Everything she says, every true thing, becomes evidence she's unstable. I'm recommending a 72-hour psychiatric hold for your safety, he tells Vanessa and Greg. But Madison sees his Apple Watch light up. Phone nearby. She creates a distraction, asking for water. While Vanessa's gone, she steals the phone from his jacket pocket. After they leave, Madison finds one recent contact. Dials it. This is Dr. Patterson's ex-wife. Is this a prank? Please, Madison whispers, words tumbling out. My name is Madison Carter. Google me. I'm being held prisoner in Calabasas. They're trying to steal my inheritance. If you don't help, I disappear into a psychiatric facility forever. Please. Long silence. Then, give me the address. I'll be there in 20 minutes. When Detective Sarah Chin arrives with police, Madison smashes the window with a chair. Screams for help. They break down the door. Find the exterior locks. The prison-like conditions. The painted shut windows. Vanessa and Greg lawyer up immediately. But here's the part that destroys Madison: the DA freezes all her accounts pending investigation. Could take months to untangle what authority Vanessa and Greg had versus what they obtained fraudulently. We can authorize a $1,500 emergency disbursement, Detective Chin says. But everything else stays frozen until trial. Madison stares at her. I have nearly $60 million and I can access $1,500? I know it's not fair. Fair? Madison's voice cracks. How long until trial? Could be 6 months. Maybe longer. They lawyered up fast. The $1,500 runs out in 23 days. Cheap motels. Food. She tries to make it last. Loses weight. Gets desperate. Week 4, last $87. She calls Detective Chen, voice shaking. The DA's still building the case. Your aunt and uncle have expensive lawyers. This is going to trial. I can't survive 6 months on $87. Apply for emergency assistance. There are programs that take weeks to process and need documents I don't have. My birth certificate, social security card, passport, everything's at their house. Which is a crime scene. Long pause. I'm sorry, Madison. My hands are tied. Everyone's sorry. No one helps. The motel manager knocks that afternoon. Checkout's noon tomorrow. Madison packs her 2 bags. Sits in the parking lot as it gets dark. 2 choices: find a shelter or sleep rough. Every shelter she calls is full. The ones with space are in areas so dangerous she's more afraid of what might happen there than on the streets. She sleeps in a bus station that first night. Security kicks her out at 2:17 a.m. By week 6, Madison Grace Carter is homeless in LA. She learns the survival rules quickly. Where bathrooms are that don't require a purchase. Which restaurants let you refill water. How to make $3 last all day. How people look through you when you're dirty. How mothers pull their children away. How you become invisible. She tries explaining. Multiple times. Walks into police stations. I'm Madison Carter. My accounts are frozen. Call Detective Sarah Chen. They look at her like she's insane. Sure, sweetheart. Move along before we arrest you for trespassing. She tries banks. Security throws her out before she finishes a sentence. The streets change her. She loses 27 pounds. Gets a cough that won't quit. Her ankle, broken escaping from the guest house, never heals right. Aches constantly. She looks a decade older than 18. And she gets angry. Angrier than she's ever been in her life. By day 179, Madison makes a decision: one more time. One more bank. She'll make them see her. Really see her. She chooses Chase Bank in Beverly Hills. The fanciest branch. Maximum contrast between her appearance and what's in her account. Maximum impact. The walk takes 43 minutes. Her ankle screams with every step. People cross the street to avoid her. A mother pulls her daughter close, whispers, "Don't stare, honey." Madison reaches the bank at 11:23 a.m. She sees her reflection in the glass doors. Homeless. Broken. Crazy looking. Perfect. She takes a breath. Pushes the door open. And walks into the moment that will change everything. The reckoning. Back to now. Karen on her knees on that marble floor, mascara streaming black rivers down her face. "I'm so sorry, Miss Carter," she sobs. Please forgive me. I didn't know." I should never have judged. I was so wrong. The security guard looks like he wants to melt into the floor. Ma'am, I apologize. I was just doing my job. The woman who clutched her Hermes bag is backing toward the exit, praying no one noticed her reaction. Madison looks at all of them. Feels nothing. No satisfaction. No vindication. Just this hollow emptiness. Karen, she says quietly. Her voice carries through the dead silent lobby. Stand up. Karen scrambles to her feet, still crying. You want to know what the worst part is? Madison continues. Every eye in the bank locked on her. I don't even care that you judged me, people judge. What I'll never forget is that you enjoyed it. You smiled doing it. You felt big making someone small. I'm sorry, Karen chokes out again. How many others have you done this to? Madison asks. How many actually homeless people, actually powerless people, have you treated the exact same way? People who didn't have nearly 60 million waiting for them? Where's your apology to them? Silence. Just Karen sobbing. Madison turns to the security guard. Marcus, his name tag says. You told me there's a shelter 3 blocks down. Have you ever been inside that shelter? Do you know what it's like? What happens to young women there? He shakes his head, shame written across his face. I do, Madison says. I lived it. And you know how many times I tried to come to this bank? 3 times. 3 separate times I tried to explain. 3 times you threw me out before I could finish a sentence. Because of how I looked. She addresses the entire bank now. Customers. Tellers. Everyone frozen. I have nearly $60 million in my accounts. My parents were world-famous cardiologists who saved hundreds of lives. They died 6 months ago. Their relatives tried to steal my inheritance. Locked me in a room. Tried to have me committed. When I escaped, police froze my accounts during the investigation. And I spent nearly 6 months on the streets because no one would believe me. Because I looked like this. She pauses, letting it sink into their souls. Here's what I learned out there. Your humanity isn't measured by how you treat people who can do something for you. It's measured by how you treat people who can't. People with no power, no money, no status. The invisible ones. When you're cruel to them, when you treat them as less than human, that says everything about who you really are. A woman in the back starts crying. Then another. Even the Chanel suit woman has tears running down her face. The teenager with his phone is still recording. The view counter is climbing. 50 people watching live. 100. 300. 500. It's going viral in real time. Karen, Madison says, turning back. I want to withdraw $250,000. In cash. Karen blinks, confused through her tears. Cash? Ms. Carter, that's a lot to carry. Maybe a cashier's check. Cash, Madison repeats. Her voice is iron. Right now. It takes 31 minutes to process. They have to call the main office. Get approval. Count out the money in stacks of hundreds while the entire bank watches in silence. When the money's finally ready, packed in 3 canvas bags, Madison turns to the watching crowd one final time. Everyone who laughed when I walked in here, she says. Everyone who stared, who judged, who treated me like garbage. Like I was less than human. You could hear a heartbeat in that silence. Thank you, Madison says. The words surprise even her. You reminded me exactly what I'm fighting for. You showed me why this matters. She picks up the 3 bags. Walks toward the door. Marcus rushes to open it, hands shaking. Ms. Carter, I'm truly sorry. If there's anything I can do. Madison pauses. Looks at him. Every homeless person who walks through those doors from now on? You treat them like they might have nearly 60 million in the bank. Or better yet, treat them like they have nothing and it shouldn't matter. Maybe just treat everyone like they're human. Like they matter. She walks out into the bright Los Angeles sunshine. Barefoot. Dirty. Carrying $250,000 in cash. Behind her, the bank erupts in chaos. People crying. Karen collapsed in a chair. The teenager's hands shaking as he watches his view count explode. The video hits 2 million views by that evening. By next morning, 20 million. By the end of the week, 45 million. Daily Mail broke it first, then TMZ, then every major network had it on loop. The Breakfast Club did a 2-hour special. Joe Rogan and Sean Ryan both had people discussing it back to back. What happened next changed everything. Detective Ching calls Madison that night. The video is forcing everyone's hand. The DA is fast-tracking the trial. Between the public pressure and the evidence, Vanessa and Greg's lawyers are advising them to take a plea deal. 12 years for Vanessa, 9 for Greg. Good, Madison says. But there's no satisfaction in her voice. But it's not enough. What do you mean? I mean the system failed me, detective. Completely. I had resources, proof, parents' lawyers, everything. And I still spent almost 6 months on the streets. So what happens to people who don't have any of that? Who don't have nearly 60 million waiting? They just stay invisible? Stay on the streets? Die there? Long silence. Yeah. Most of them do. Not if I can help it, Madison says quietly. 3 months later, Madison launches the Second Chance Initiative. A storefront office in downtown LA. 3 staff members. Simple mission, legal help, housing assistance, medical care for people who've lost everything. The genius part? Madison hires people who've been homeless themselves. The genius part? Madison hires people who've been homeless themselves. Former addicts. People with criminal records. People the system wrote off. She pays real salaries with full benefits. Everyone deserves a second chance, she tells the LA Times in her first interview. Including the people who judged me that day. Including Karen. Because Karen Mitchell quit Chase Bank. She showed up at Madison's office 3 weeks after the video went viral. No makeup. Humbled. Broken. I don't expect you to forgive me, Karen says, voice shaking. But I need to help. I can't stop thinking about all the people I've turned away over the years. All the cruel things I said. All the judgments I made. I need to make it right. Madison studies her for a long moment. Can you answer phones? Process intake paperwork? Do actual work instead of managing people? Yes, Karen says immediately. Minimum wage to start. We'll see how you do. Karen becomes the intake coordinator for the LA Center. She's there every morning at 7 a.m., before anyone else. Greeting people at the door. People who look exactly like Madison looked that day in the bank. Welcome, Karen says to each one. And she means it. Nobody gets judged here. Nobody gets turned away. Let's figure out together how we can help you. Marcus, the security guard, reaches out through the website a month later. Can he volunteer? Can he do something to make amends? Madison makes him the director of security and outreach for all Second Chance Initiative locations. His job is to train security personnel across the country on how to help vulnerable people instead of removing them. I failed you, Marcus tells Madison on his first day. I'm going to spend the rest of my career making sure I never fail anyone else like that. The woman who grabbed her purse, her name is Jennifer, donates $100,000. It's not enough, she says, crying. It'll never be enough to make up for how I treated you. But I want to help. Even the teenager who filmed the original video shows up. He's studying social work at UCLA now. That video changed my life, he tells Madison. I was just filming for clicks, for views, for drama. But watching what happened, hearing your story, it made me want to actually help people. Not just post about problems, but solve them. Within 6 months, Second Chance Initiative has centers in 15 cities. Within a year, all 50 states. 75,000 people helped. 15,000 moved into permanent housing. 8,000 connected with jobs. 3,000 reunited with families they'd lost touch with. But for Madison, the numbers aren't what matters. What matters are the messages she gets. Hundreds of them. From people experiencing homelessness who watched her video on library computers or phones at shelters. One message makes her cry. It's from a woman named Sarah, 53, living in her car in Seattle. I've been homeless for 2 years. Lost everything in a divorce. I thought about ending it more times than I can count. But I watched your video 3 days ago. You said to hold on one more day. So I did. Then one more. Today, I walked into a Second Chance Initiative office. They helped me apply for housing. Connected me with job training. Treated me like a person. For the first time in 2 years, I feel like maybe I can make it. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for helping people like me not give up either. Madison frames that message. Hangs it in her office. Reads it every time she questions whether any of this matters. 1 year later, Chase Bank unveils a bronze statue outside their Beverly Hills branch. Life-size Madison, standing barefoot. The plaque reads, "To those who see humanity in everyone, regardless of appearance. May we all learn to look beyond the surface." Madison brings Karen, Marcus, and 12 people they've helped. Former homeless individuals, now thriving. The CEO gives a polished speech about corporate responsibility and learning from mistakes. Then hands Madison the microphone. 2 years ago, Madison begins, looking up at her bronze self. I walked through those doors expecting to be turned away. I'd been turned away so many times I almost didn't try. But something stubborn in me said try one more time. She gestures to her group. These are the real heroes. James was on the streets for 7 years. Now he's a substance abuse counselor helping others. Maria was bankrupted by medical bills, lived in her car for 18 months. Now she's a nurse again, saving lives. David aged out of foster care with nowhere to go. Now he's in community college studying engineering. She looks directly at Karen. This is also about redemption. About the possibility of change. Karen threw me out of this bank 2 years ago. She was cruel. She enjoyed her power over someone powerless. And now? She's one of my closest colleagues. She works minimum wage helping the exact people she used to dismiss. She transformed her shame into action. That's what real redemption looks like. Madison looks up at the statue one more time. This girl thought she had nothing. Turns out she had everything that mattered. Strength. Resilience. Compassion. The will to keep trying when the world said no. She turns to the crowd. When you look at this statue, don't see a victim. See a survivor. See someone who refused to be defined by circumstances. Who looked devastation in the face and said you don't get to win. That's who I am. That's who all of us can be. The applause is thunderous. People are crying. Not from pity this time. From hope. After the ceremony, a young homeless girl approaches Madison. Maybe 16. Ms. Carter? I'm Emma. I've been on the streets for 3 months. My mom kicked me out when I came out. Your video, you're the reason I'm still alive. Madison doesn't hesitate. Pulls Emma into a hug. Have you been to Second Chance Initiative? I'm scared they'll judge me too. They won't. I guarantee it. I'm personally taking you to our LA center right now. We'll get you housing, food, a plan. You're not alone anymore. Emma nods, crying. That night, after Emma's settled in transitional housing, Madison drives to the beach. Walks barefoot in the sand, cold water washing over her feet. Her phone buzzes. Text from Karen, Emma's doing great. Ate 2 full meals, showered, sleeping soundly. You saved another one. Madison smiles. Adds it to her collection of messages that keep her going. Tomorrow she has class at UCLA at 8, board meeting at noon, 3 facility visits, CNN interview at 6. She's exhausted just thinking about it. But Emma's sleeping soundly tonight instead of on the streets. Sarah in Seattle has an apartment. James helps others recover. Maria nurses again. David studies engineering. Karen found redemption. Marcus found purpose. Madison gets in her car. Drives home. She doesn't notice the photographer snapping pictures of her on the beach, barefoot, looking strong and thoughtful and unbroken. Those photos make the cover of Time magazine 2 weeks later. Person of the Year, the barefoot heiress who changed everything. But right now, she's just a 20-year-old girl. Tired. Hopeful. Healing. Surviving. And turning her worst nightmare into everyone else's second chance. For you. If you're watching this and struggling. If you feel invisible. If you think you can't make it one more day. You matter. Your story isn't over. This isn't the end. You're stronger than you know. Braver than you believe. Hold on. One more day. Then one more. You deserve to see what happens next. If no one told you today, I see you. You're not invisible. Never, ever give up.